Hey everybody, welcome back to the Kit Cave. Back with you again for another progress update for the current build series in relation to what we see here in front of us, the AMT ERTL 1400 scale Enterprise D in the good old opaque version. I hope everybody's doing well. Again, as ever, I always like to start by saying big thanks to everybody for the comments and the likes and the subscriptions to the channel and to the video play series. Always appreciated. I hope everybody doing absolutely fantastic this weekend. So what have I been working on? Well, last update was basically just showcasing the windows here, having the windows drilled and opened out, which is all now done, and then it was a case of getting started on installation of some of the aftermarket parts, which have been sourced all from Motion Picture Miniatures. So as we can see, what's going on here then, top piece is done and installed, the clear part. The clear bridge section is now in. I had to do a bit of dremeling up here in the channel to groove this out, to square this round, because it wasn't the original stock kit part was on it's kind of twisted on a bit of an angle, so that's now been squared round. This has been seated in epoxy resin on the back with clear resin there to allow the light to shine through, and of course there's going to be light blocked from the outside, and that all sorted out when I come to the painting. The other bit, of course, I was then working on was the installation here of the I forgot what it's called. That plate, the shuttle bay. Bloody hell, the shuttle bay, main shuttle bay on the top here. As we can see, that's now in. It's all installed. Quite a straightforward process. This one was just using the original grid lines, and again, I followed the instructions as posted by the good chap over at Motion Picture Miniatures. Quite straightforward, just chopping out the plastic there. Quite a thick bit of plastic on this kit to chop out. You can see it there. But that was easy to do, following the existing grid lines, just channel it out, cut it across, get this piece installed nice and flush, or as flush as I could get it. And then again, epoxy resin on the back, that's in now secure. Yesterday was spent filling in all along the seams, so taping off the bits, filling, wet sanding it all back to get it all in. And then this morning I've gone back in and rescribed. It's hard to see here, but you know, they'll show up once it's been primed and painted. Rescribed in the panel lines here to get the grid lines back into place. Bit of sanding, a bit of extra fillering being done up here on the top to get that running smooth. Sorry for the poor camera work, shoddy camera work here, but you can kind of just see it. Yeah, look at that, looking nice, looking very nice, nice and flowing, now accurate to the studio scale model. Looking good, happy with how that's turned out. Worth the time and the effort. Took it steady to go in there, get this bit sanded down. Again, wet sanding. I do have a sanding sponge, which I found quite useful. I picked it up in a local hobby shop a couple of months ago it was, to be fair. So I did some initial wet sanding, and then to finish it off I used one of these things. Pick this up, really good. It's one of these, this is not for wet sanding, it's all dry sanding, but it goes in stages. You know, you go from the rough grit to the very fine grit, and you just use the same block. You know, stage 1 it's this bit, then stage 2 it's this bit, and then stage 3, and you can clearly see it's telling you the stages when you're sanding what to go for. And so I was using this more so on the top bit. I found that with this bit here, it did need a bit of sanding off to get this back and level and get this line running nice and true coming down here, but that was okay. Just took it nice and steady, you know, little bits at a time. Look at it, do a bit more to refine it all until we're now looking at this. Absolutely fantastic, superb. Really happy with how that's turned out. So what have I been working on then this morning, or trying to work on this morning? As you can see, apart from that, I haven't really got much done. Hit a bit of a snag. I was starting the process this morning of, okay, now we're on to this bit. Get this bit taken out, get the I can't get my words out today. The phaser strips. Starting, you know, taking the stock kit piece out, which is going to be kind of a straightforward job to do. But I thought before I do that, let's get the aftermarket strips sorted out and put together. Now, again, to do those strips, I purchased from Motion Picture Miniatures. This is the aftermarket detail set that you can purchase. Not very dear, not very dear. Well worth the expense. It's hard to pick up the detail here on camera. It's not picking it up very well. I don't think my lighting's very good either. Let me just try something else. Is that going to help to see? No, it's not. It's probably just making it worse. But these are great parts. Very detailed. Replicate the studio scale model. Made in polyurethane resin. Quite flexible, which is good. Yeah, fantastic set. What I did back last year when I first purchased this, because obviously the whole point, or not the whole point, but what I'm doing on the top piece is having these lit up for the phaser firing effect. So I wanted these phaser strips to be in clear resin. So I actually made a mold, a silicone mold of all these sections here, and then I recast them into clear epoxy resin. And that was what I was then working on this morning. Now, with the installation of these, I did have a read of the instructions. Quite straightforward to do, certainly with the stock parts. You just basically cut out the relevant section. It's nice and thin on the back there. You can see they do warp a little bit, but that's okay. A little bit of heat flattens that out. That's not a problem. But the process is, on the instructions, is you cut this out with a hobby knife as best you can with a section. Then on the back you sand away this flash, this bottom material, to get to the thickness of the phaser strip that you need for installation into the kit part itself. And that's where I hit the snag. That's when I ran into the problem this morning. And I'll show you what I mean. And again, it's not the part's fault. It's not the mold's fault. The mold's part even. Sorry, fart. What's that? I do apologise. I just cannot get my words out this morning. Here's all the clear pieces that I cast into resin back last year. They come out, they came out absolutely fantastic. The detail on it picked up all the detail. You can actually see it a little bit better here, weirdly enough, on the clear set. Look at that, really come out nice. Look, fantastic detail on there. These are really, this casting came out brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I was really chuffed with that. However, something I didn't consider, I was a little bit overzealous when I made these casts, and that was when I kind of ran into the problem. And so this morning, this is the first bit. This is section A of the phaser strip. Now this, I believe, goes onto this section here, the back piece here. So it's the first bit. So I cut it out. I had to use a Dremel cutting bit to cut through this. Yeah, that was where I ran into the issue. Just an absolute pain in the ass to do it, if I've got to be honest. Again, looking at the thickness of that material then, my fault, I filled up the mold too much, way too much. And so the amount of time and effort, and I even started to sand it on the back, and I was sanding and sanding and sanding to try and start to get this material down. And I was just, well, do you know what? To hell with this. To hell with this. It's just going to take absolutely forever. A lot of hard work. Because I made the mistake of when I filled it up, I filled the mold completely up, and I shouldn't have done that. That's my error. There's way too much material on the back here. Is it worth the time and effort farting about with? No, it's not. I mean, great pieces, don't get me wrong, fantastic pieces, I suppose. And then I kind of sat here and I thought for a second, well, maybe it might work if I cut them out, clean them up a little bit, give it a little bit of a ridge line. Maybe I don't need to do the sanding on the back. Maybe I can just cut the saucer, cut the stock piece bit out, do a little bit of thinning of the plastic on the back, and kind of just use them to literally just insert, kind of, if that makes sense. You've got a little bit of a lip on the material to attach. Oh, come on, Steve. Apologies, everybody. Not doing very well on this filming today. There we go. It's a raw live video and it's not working because he's just slippery. So the thought was to cut this out completely, where I've got the phaser strip attached, and then it's got a little bit of a lip here, to do kind of essentially what's going on here. Install it just from the back and have it installed and pushed into the plastic enough so that will then, the phaser strip will sit flush and above the top. That was the first thought. And then I thought, The second thought was, no, not doing that, because I'll just end up messing it up somehow, and it just look awful. And there's a lot of hard work, a lot of hard graph, and it's just really not worth it. Not worth doing it. So yeah, I'm a bit annoyed that I've made this error. What I should have done when I made these original casts was just filled the mold up enough so that the phaser strip itself was cast without any of this backflash material. But there we go. We live and learn. We live and learn. I mean, they're still great pieces. Look at them. You know, it's a shame for them to go to waste, but they are going to go to waste. I'm sure I can find a use for them at some point on another build somewhere, somehow. But there we go. So that's out. So what's the plan then? How am I going to get around this? Well, easiest solution to this. Here's the mold. There's the mold off camera. That's the mold made in silicone. Again, it captures all the detail. It needs a bit of a clean and a wash out. So what's the easy solution to this one, everybody? UV clear resin. That's the answer. That's the solution to this. And I did do an experiment, and because I just dropped the bag, it's now falling out on the floor somewhere. There we go. Never mind. Do it on camera then. Here we go. So I experimented with this stuff. This is what I picked up again last year. This is from Green Stuff World, UV resin, transparent. And I picked this up more so for at the end of this build, I'm going to be using this to insert into all the windows. Every single one of these windows are going to be filled up with this stuff and cured. This replica, of course, is for the glass or the transparent aluminium, as it is in the TV series, to fill up all these windows back in. Now, this is expensive stuff. This is a 13 milliliter bottle, and it's bloody dear stuff. So I don't really want to be wasting too much of this. But what I did this morning, after I experimented with this, I went onto eBay, just sourced again a 100-gram bottle of transparent UV resin for jewelry making. It was $9.99, job done. Use that instead. But essentially, what I did this morning, thought, right, the easiest option to this is use this stuff. Let's try it. So I put a dab into here, and I only filled it up as much as it needed to go. Try and get this better on camera. Apologies, my lighting's very poor here in the cave today. I need to sort that out as well. And I just filled the mold up to the level of the strip itself. With my UV light, then I got a torch. I've got a bigger UV light as well. Cured it, and of course it came out absolutely fine. And I've gone and lost a piece now that I actually did this morning. Yeah, it's on the floor somewhere. I'm not going to look for it. Doesn't matter. It was only an experiment. But it worked. And let me actually just demonstrate that on camera if I can. Let me angle this down a little bit so we can see what's going on. So this is by far going to be now the easiest method, I think, quickest method. Less messing around, less farting about. My tripod's going to fall over. Apologies again, everybody, for my very short. I need to hire a cameraman, a professional cameraman, to come and do these videos for me, because I clearly can't do it. But yeah, so let's have a go at this. So again, I'm just going to pop a little bit of a dab in that one. I'm literally just going to fill this up, lay a bit of material in. Again, I don't want to waste too much of this. This is why I bought another batch. I'm just laying it in, move it around, fill it up to the level. I think that's a bit more than is actually needed there, but that's okay. It's not too bad. Get it filled in. That's all now filled in, and we'll actually use the knife just to back edge of my hobby knife. What I'm doing here is on the mold, I'm just skimming it over, and that brings that to the level. Skim it across. Let it do its thing. Yeah, there was a bit too much material there, but that's okay. A bit wasteful. Never mind. There you go. That one's filled up. Let's get it cured. Bosh. On with the UV light. Let this cure in. I think this is going to be the way forward with this. Quicker, simpler, easier. There is going to be a little bit of sanding on the back to be done, but nowhere near as extensive as on the other parts. And again, don't get me wrong, everybody. The original bought parts from Motion Picture Miniatures, absolutely fantastic little bits, really easy to install. The only reason I'm not using them, of course, because I wanted it in clear for the top section to allow the light from the LED strip to pass through for the phaser firing effect. All the rest of these, I will probably just still use the same technique as I'm doing here. cast them in UV resin, cure them, but it doesn't matter, they're going to get light blocked and painted over anyway, because they're not having the phaser firing effect. There we go, a couple of minutes on that. Let's pull this one out. I'll just get a bit of a tissue, wipe off my knife there. Move that out of the way. And I will clean this mold, it does need a wash. Let's pop it out. There you go, that's just popped out. What I'm going to do is just flip it over. It's a little bit tacky on that back side. It just needs a little cure there, front and back. There we go. Probably enough to do the job. I don't know. I don't know how high or how far back you need to hold these bloody lamps. Don't know. That'll do. And there we go. There's the part. Get on camera. Recast. Clear UV resin. You can see there. Bit of flash, but that's going to be way easier now to get off. Got a little bit of a bubble in there, but that's okay. This is just a little experimental piece. It's not an issue. It's captured all the detail absolutely fine. Happy with that. That looks pretty good. And again, it's at the right height now, the right dimensions. Still a little bit flexible, but that's okay. It's all right. But there we go. No sanding needed. Well, there is going to be a little bit, but that is far quicker, far easier than messing around with those clear pieces. That's going to be a far quicker job than messing around with this and trying to win this back. There we go. Now that can just go pop when it's ready, straight onto the kit part. As you can see, popped onto the top of the plastic there at the right height, right dimensions. Job's a good one. And there we go. Yeah, looking nice. Happy with that. There we go. So that's where I'm at with this, everybody. Messing around with the phaser strips. So what that means is now I need to wait. I need to wait for a delivery to turn up. Just testing it off camera, the flexibility. I mean, that's really bending as well. Sorry, I don't mind about bending this bit. It's an experimental piece, but that's going to be good. I mean, look how flexible that is. Certainly with this the green stuff rod, which is quite good, because that means obviously there's going to be a strip on the bottom of the hull that needs to bend like that. Some of them do need to flex to follow the curvature of the kit itself. And look at how that's just absolutely fine, and it's kept all the detail there. That's brilliant. Actually, I'm going to save that one. I'm going to save that one, put it in the bag. Don't lose this one. Find the other one as well. Oh, there it is. It's already in the bag. It's because it was clear, I couldn't see it. There we go. So this is the one I actually did this morning off camera. This was the experimental one. I've just found it, and this is now the one that I've just done on camera. There we go. 2 bits. How quick was that? Nice and easy. Job done. Job done. So that's the way forward. So yeah, that means I just need to wait for the delivery of the UV resin that I've ordered on eBay this morning to come. That's going to arrive some point next week, so that I can do that and get all these bits recast into clear resin. But that's okay. So all I can start working on then for this afternoon is actually taking this out, getting rid of this. Now my process for this, I think, is going to be what is my process going to be? Think about it. So I'm probably going to lay some tape. I'm going to lay some tape around the periphery of these strips here, so I know exactly where it's going to be. I'm then going to use a drill bit, and I'm probably going to drill holes, series of holes all the way around first. Drill all the holes in. I'm not going to use a drill bit that's as wide as these strips here. It's going to be in the middle. Do a series of holes, just drill it all the way through. Then I'll use a Dremel tool to begin with, get it on flat to actually then sand off the raised parts here, and then finish it off probably with that sanding stick I just showed to get it all down nice and flat. And then the holes will already be in place. Then that means I can go back in and do a bit of tidying up, either with a hobby knife and just channel it out. What I'm effectively going to do is I'm going to channel that out in here, cut this piece out, but leave a tiniest little lip potentially, and that allows them with the recast clear parts to sit on that little lip. They can be bonded in. You've epoxy resined in, clear epoxy resin on the back. They're all installed, ready then for the light strip to be situated in. I think that's the plan. That's the way forward with this. And there we go. Once that bit's all done, the last bit to do installation wise to the top piece is install the photo edge detail set. So I've got the set which I managed to source with regards to the transport emitters. They'll be attached and placed on, and again with the green strawberry kit for the Arboretum windows that need to go in and putted in and sorted out. And then when all that's done, I've got a couple of little, I've got to channel that off ready for another aftermarket kit to go in there, but that's an easy job. Drill a couple of more holes for some lights that need to go in. I believe they're up here. Get some of the more lights going in, and then we're ready to start installation on the back. Spray this over. I'm probably going to spray this in silver. I'm not going to do the traditional white like I usually do on the back of model kits. White, obviously, a lot of us model builders use white spray paint to let the light bounce around. I'm probably going to go with silver on this. I've got some silver cans that I picked up, rattle cans, a couple of years ago. Some people say that with the silver light, yes, it does allow the lights, to bounce around, but it gives off a bluish tinge to the light, which is fine because that's how it kind of looks in the TV series and on the movies with the light shining through. They do have a slight bluish tinge to them. So I'll probably do it in silver. Once that's done, I can then start working on the installation of all the lights itself, the light strips. Quite where they're going to go in, I don't know. Just looking on the top pieces here, I've got to try and get the addressable LED strip, which is going to go around this edge on the inside. I think is going to be going around here, and then any other available space is going to be for LED strips to go in as much as possible to shine down, because from the top it'll be shining down, of course, to sorry everybody, my camera work is very poor today. Shining down to illuminate the bottom section, and then the LED lights in the bottom section will shine up for the top and vice versa. But yeah, there we go. But yeah, progress is being made. A little bit of a snag this morning with regards to the phaser strips, but again, that was my error when I first cast them, but not an issue. Figured out another solution to it. An easier one, a quicker one. I should have thought about that last year. I just didn't. But there we go. We live and learn. We live and learn. Anyway, I'll wrap up there. Thanks again, everybody, for the comments, likes, the thumbs up, and the subscriptions. Again, I hope everybody's doing fine. I'll be back with you all again with another update as soon as I possibly can. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy your weekend, whatever time you have left with it, and I'll be back very soon. You all take care now. Bye bye.